Jenna, it's simple. Matthew Stafford, the quarterback. It's just as simple as that. All of the pressure was on Stafford. The pressure was not on Aaron Donald and Von Miller. It was not on Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers. Everyone was pointing to Matthew Stafford. And had the Rams lost this game at home to a wild card, a division opponent, Matthew Stafford would have gotten crushed. The talk would have been, did we give up too many draft picks for him? Was he worth all that? Did the Rams mortgage their future for nothing? And Matthew Stafford would have started his playoff career 0-4. That would have matched the all-time leaders, Andy Dalton and the great Y.A. Tittle. That's right, a Y.A. Tittle reference. You guys know I'm the wise elder. I'm the wise elder on the show. I read books about Y.A. Tittle, yes. And so he avoids all of that. And with all of that pressure on him, he goes out there and lights it up from the get-go and sets a great tone. He hits his first 6 passes are complete, 93 yards, a touchdown to OBJ. And then he runs in a touchdown as well on a QB sneak to get them off to a 14-0 lead. And look, the numbers bear it out. The Rams are 7-0 when Stafford doesn't throw an interception. They're 6-5 when he does. And so he played a clean game, no turnovers, and the Rams roll.
So here's the problem, Broussard, and I like that we were giving Matthew Stafford not his flowers, plural, just flower, singular. Like, here you go, Matthew Stafford. Like, oh, thanks, I guess. Better than being in Detroit. But since Josh Allen played so well, and since Patrick Mahomes played so well, unless you're doing superstar stuff, it's just like a good game kind of gets downgraded. Now, on the other hand, the Rams defense that we've been waiting to see since last year when they were number one in all these categories and fell off, finally showed up in a major way. And Nick, you know your old buddy Kevin Wildes is a defensive wins championships type of guy. First 5 possessions for the Cardinals, -1 yard, 40 yards at halftime. They went 0 for 9 on 3rd down. So look, I know that we want to talk about the coaches, talk about the quarterbacks, but I feel like too often on this show in particular, we go after the losing team for what they did wrong, rather than saying, hey, you know what? Maybe Aaron Donald, maybe Von Miller, maybe Jalen Ramsey, that Rams defense is as good as it gets. Tom Brady in a little bit of trouble. Yeah. Tom Brady in a little bit of trouble. A banged-up offensive line in this defense. Woo-hoo-hoo. A little nervous.
No, I think you make some good points.
Matt.
I think Broussard makes some good points. Also, I don't know if the audience noticed, I don't know if Broussard and I did this on purpose, but Broussard wearing the colors from the Rams uniform the last time they won the Super Bowl. You guys remember those different uniforms they used to wear, the Kurt Warner Rams? You guys remember them, the little gold? And I'm wearing the colors from this year, which maybe this year they'll win the Super Bowl. But
that's a good
neither
use
here
of
nor
our
there.
time.
You make Jenna and Wildes didn't get the memo. Celebrating the Rams today. Sorry, guys.
Planned.
It wasn't
I'm wearing
planned,
black
but
for the Cardinals. They're in mourning this morning.
Exactly right.
one
Jenna's
got
wearing
memos.
a Cardinals funeral. And we'll talk more about the Cardinals being a total disaster. Because,
That was
yes,
my line, but
the
yes.
Rams defense was great. But Kyler played up to his height yesterday. And we'll talk more about him.
Yikes.
And yes, Stafford, and by the way, Broussard, I think this was the perfect situation for Stafford. Because it was almost a pressure-free playoff win after that first possession. The defense playing so well. No, he had a ton of pressure going into the game. But my point is, the game was out of hand so early that he could kind of play free and loose. And I do think that could spell trouble for the Bucs. But I want to give credit, first of all, to Sean McVay, because the game flipped on the pick six. It was 14-0. Shouldn't say flipped, but ended on the pick six. They only got that pick six because McVay did something very risky. Used his second challenge early in a game on this play that I thought was incomplete. But they had a full minute on the field where they're talking to New York, still ruled it complete because he had challenged the Stafford quarterback sneak earlier, even though he was right on that one. If he's wrong on this one, he's out of challenges for the game. McVay only challenged one play all year And he had 2 successful challenges last night that were huge for them.
Great
they
call.
both directly led to touchdowns, so I want to give him credit. But the other person whose name has not been mentioned, and I will not stand for it, is a man who I'm old enough to remember us spending multiple days on the color of his visor and the size of his watch. And that is Odell Beckham Jr., who here is how the Rams scored offensive touchdowns last night. Odell caught one. The next drive, Odell had a 30-plus yard gain to put them at the 2. They scored a defensive touchdown. And the next one they scored, Odell set it up with a pass. So Odell Beckham Jr., who kind of clumsily and awkwardly forced his way out of Cleveland, Broussard, was right and has won and is in the city he wants to be in playing. This is the first playoff game since the infamous boat trip, which was followed by less infamous but far more important drops. And he was targeted 4 times. He had 4 catches. He had another big gain taken away by an offensive holding call by a lineman, and he threw a perfect pass. So Odell, I'm not saying he deserves the most credit of anyone on the team, but all 3 of their initial scoring drives, he made the biggest play. Either the touchdown catch, the big catch to set it up right there, or the pass to Akers. I think Odell deserves massive credit for getting into Los Angeles, not being any type of distraction, and just scoring touchdowns at will, seemingly.
I think that's a fantastic point. Brew, I'm going to throw you a curveball here. Do you think that Odell's success in playing out on a national stage and how different his story is now than it was 2 months ago will make other wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks who aren't in perfect spots say, you know what? I'm just going to force my way out in the middle of the season. We haven't seen it. We've seen it in basketball where LeBron does something and people kind of follow. Maybe Tom Brady left his team. We see that Russell Wilson, maybe I'll leave one day. Do you think that what he did was not an aberration, that it will become the standard if you're unhappy with your team?
That's a great question, Waz. I think guys will try. They're always trying. The NFL has tried to follow in LeBron James's footsteps, right? And what he's done in the NBA. And other players in the NBA obviously have followed LeBron and actually taken it to another level. So I do think guys will try. I think Odell has some unique leverage in that he's not only a great player, he's a superstar. All right, he's a celebrity. And so that gave him more, I think, ability to force his way out. He's such a huge star on social media and all of that. But yeah, Wiles, I do think just like we've seen Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers kind of look at Tom Brady and the way he left New England and say, you know what? Maybe I'll go start over somewhere else and win there too. So I think guys will try. And it has been a great landing for OBJ. There's no doubt about it. He's not dropping balls. He looks terrific. And he fits in. And Nick, you said it. A key is this, that he is not being a distraction. And while a lot of this will be put on Baker Mayfield, and rightfully so, OBJ also was injured in Cleveland a lot. And he was the one that wore the watch on the field. He was the one that had the visor. He was the one that gave Tom Brady the GOAT cleats before the game. So he did also make himself a distraction and a spectacle rather than, and he's not doing that in L.A. They won't allow him to do it in L.A., so credit to them.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.